people that want to get involved. The meetings are usually open to anyone that wants to come, and is also a way that people from the streets would come and get on the teams. This slide, our ladder of success. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So yeah, the ladder of success. If you want to go to the next slide for me,
Yes.
or yeah, okay. So just to give you an example, so the folks, they go, anyone that's on the team, they go out and they're picking up trash and debris, and in exchange, they get, for their volunteerism, they get that gift card stipend. But it would not work without the ladder of success. So a yellow shirt, as you see in this picture, that is a team member. So that is when you first join, you start off as a team member. And Julie, to your right, she is a green shirt, and that means that you are a team lead. So essentially, you are getting managerial skills in the process of also volunteering. And then the next shirt is going to be blue, which is going to be the team manager. So obviously, they're overseeing all of the team leads and the team members. And then the purple shirt is operations manager. So they are literally the right hand person go to for the project manager. And with all of these people, we would not be successful. They're really the root of everything, obviously.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And you can go to the next one. So peer to peer, obviously, folks who are experiencing homelessness, they've gone through a lot of trauma. They've gone through things where, encampments, a lot of awful things happen. And so it's really hard to trust people, especially folks who are housed. It's really difficult to build that trust. So a lot of what folks do when they're volunteering and going out and picking up trash and debris in encampments, they're also telling them about Downtown Streets team and what it is. And it's not, a scam or a hoax. This is, I live this life as well. Come to the meeting. It's a great place to feel welcomed and not judged in that atmosphere. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I also wanted to point out that as a case manager, I'm supposed to find resources for people, but I find that people tell me more resources than I know. And so the peer-to-peer model creates this kind of like baseline mindset that people are in, a place of non-judgment, and also um, allows individuals to feel comfortable in the community and with the people that they're serving. But yeah, again, it's also really helpful during outreach as well. Okay. So we have expanded vastly, especially we've also opened up a city during COVID, Petaluma. But right now we're in 16 different cities in the Bay Area, about 16, all the way from Petaluma down to Salinas, to Santa Cruz to Sacramento. And I think in total we have around five to 800 team members at the moment, Sam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Probably
would say
closer
about
to,
600.
yeah, so in that ballpark. So at any given moment, we are serving that many people, like at our baseline. That doesn't count people that we help off of our caseload, but people that are yellow, green, red, and purple shirts are about 600. Um, these are the different county teams. We, in Santa Clara County, we have Palo Alto, San Jose, and Sunnyvale. We all work very closely together. And then just, on the border, we also have Redwood City very close by. Another thing that we'd like to note is that we have a amazing food closet in Palo Alto. If you guys ever want to get involved, please try. I'm sure they do stuff during the holiday season. I'm not sure due to COVID, but this was something that our organization was able to do in Palo Alto, and it is a very used resource in the community. And team members run it, and they run it really, really well.
Something I didn't think of in the last one, the food closet is always looking for food. So if
Yeah.
you are looking for ways to volunteer or give back or whatever it might be, this is a great opportunity if you have, extra canned goods, or actually contacting Alexis in the last slide,
Mhm.
um, contacting her and letting, asking what they need specifically. That's another great way to get involved as well.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we're just going to talk a little bit about our impact and how our organization has impacted the unhoused community since we were founded. So since we were founded in 2005 in Palo Alto, we have successfully housed over 1,000 people. And from when they first join our program until they are housed, um, that's about an average of 6 to 6.5 months. And we are averaging about 7 to 8 people housed a month. That's probably also going to change. We got a huge contract in Modesto where we're going to house a lot more people. Um, but that it's definitely going to get more as time goes on. For employment, we've had over 1,000 people hold jobs for over 90 days. And until they start with us, until they are employed, it's about 6 to 7 months. Um, and that's about 9 jobs a month lasting 90 days or more. And the salary that is on average when they're hired is about $14.26. Our program is also really good for the environment. So since we've existed, we have collected and safely removed over 10 million gallons of debris from the environment and the streets, and have removed close to 100,000 needles from any waterways or sidewalks.
And then I want to add for the hourly wage. So we're in a bunch of different communities, and San Jose has one of the highest minimum wage, which is at 15.50.
Mhm.
And so obviously, other communities like in Modesto, their minimum wage is 12.50. So that's just the average hourly wage. Like today, literally today, I got or someone on the team got hired for $22 an hour. So that isn't, obviously average. We all know what that means, but it seems pretty low every time I look at that, and I'm like, I don't know if that's right. But there are other communities that don't have a high minimum wage.
Yeah.
I can go over
Okay.
this slide.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah. So this is just a little, we do team member surveys because obviously we want to make sure that we are making an impact. So 55% have decreased encounters with police because of DST. A lot of folks, for a lot of reasons, there's, some other places that they've gone to, or shelters, whatever it might be, they haven't felt safe in that community. And I would like to think that a lot of folks feel, safe in the environment that they come into whenever it's DST. 96% of team members stated an overall increase in their self worth. 99% are proud to be a team member and give back to their community. 84% of team members now have health insurance, which is huge. Medical bills is probably one of the largest reasons that folks are in debt.
Mhm.
So that's fantastic. 67% are now engaged with mental health treatment. Really assessing a lot of, drug use in your early days, and addiction has come because they didn't understand what their mental illness was, whether it was schizophrenia or bipolar. 73% of are using less alcohol or drugs than they used to, and 96% report positive health outcomes due to their involvement with DST.
Okay. So the community benefits of our program. So our program offers cleaner and safer streets, removing over 10,000 gallons of debris, as well as close to 100,000 needles, creates safer and cleaner streets. It also creates, unhoused individual. It creates an opportunity for unhoused individuals to have something to do that would prevent them maybe from getting involved in anything violent or drug use. Um, our program is cost effective. We do run on grants, donations, funding, but um, we don't pay people. We offer them these gift cards, and so it's a lot more cost effective that way. We also see immediate results. So immediately somebody is put on a team, they're going, cleaning the community, and they have a yellow shirt and they're there. Like it's very, very quick. And I think people really like that because a lot of programs to get into, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of, you have to be sober, you have to be a certain age. And here we accept everyone 18 years or older. So it's very, very quick. Um, it also addresses behavioral issues since it mimics a job and like, you have your coworkers and you have a boss. People become more used to working in a corporate environment. A lot of the time, individuals that we're working with have been chronically homeless, meaning that they have been out of work for some time. And so, from them going from living on the streets to now kind of moving towards a more professional environment, this is a really good middle ground. And then it also changes the perception of the public. They see individuals that are unhoused cleaning the streets, contributing to society, and it makes people have a more positive perception of our team members. So yeah, a way to get involved to join a team, hire, house a team member, volunteer, donate would be through the connections listed on this screen. And I know Sam's going to leave um, her contact information as well. But this is how you would want to get involved. And that's the end of our basic slide. I wanted to get through that quickly because I almost called you Dr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher wanted to, or said that you guys would have a lot of questions. So
You see that in the chat, like the first question is,
yeah,
let me see, let me go back up.
What
yeah,
inspired us to
That's the first question, I think, and then you can just see the rest of them if you want to.
okay. What inspired you guys to work with Downtown Streets team? Personally, it started when I was going to college. I took a lot of sociology classes and political science classes, and slowly learned I could make money having an impact on the community and working with people. So I strictly only applied to nonprofits and really, really wanted to work with unhoused individuals.
Yeah, and for myself, I was working in San Francisco in real estate and property management. I obviously, if you've ever been to San Francisco, in any part of San Francisco, you see how it's outright in your face. So I was like, I don't want to sell $1 million homes anymore to people. I want to assist folks who actually need help. I was also previously homeless, and obviously that made me, I experienced it. So not that not that that shaped me into wanting to do this position. I just felt like there needs to be something done with what's going on in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Victoria asked, have there been any new projects that were made in response to COVID? And yes, a lot of new projects have been made. The federal funding is a lot different now and is now gearing to fund programs as COVID relief or people that are vulnerable to getting COVID. So one specifically in San Jose right now that I'm working on is creating these large hygiene kits for people. I have like 30 Amazon boxes in my living room right now. That's why I have a background on. And so what I'm doing is creating like hygiene kits with like jackets, socks, beanies, gloves, resources, and handing them out to people that are unhoused to, let them know about resources pertaining to COVID specifically. So yeah, there have been changes in responses.
Yeah, one of the things somebody asked us just privately, but how can we as teenagers be a part of this organization and help?
So honestly, the one of two things that I want to say, I'm stumbling over my words, even over Zoom, I'm awful at public speaking, but one of the first ways is, also remembering to say hi to people and not ignoring them on the street. I think that's a really big thing. We had a campaign called Just Say Hi. Um, you know, I think that's remembering that they are human, and, you know, humans get lonely, humans feel things all the time. So, you know, remembering that when you're walking down the street. San Jose has a huge homeless population, as everyone has seen. And number two, I would say hygiene kits. When you're a teenager and you're not quite yet 18, I would say building hygiene kits and donating them. That's a big part. If you were ever interested in donating in Palo Alto, if that's somewhere that you guys are located at, there's the food closet that always needs food. Um, so, you know, those are a couple of ways being underage, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. And then I'll add to that just doing a research and educating your fellow peers and family and friends. Um, Homelessness is so stigmatized in our society and has become extremely political. I said this in every class. And creating a really unbiased, open-minded opinion on the unhoused community could really help them in general, the way that you interact with them, the way that you talk about them. Um, Everything has an effect to your like opinions and actions. The next question is from Chase. Is the housing you guys provide permanent or temporary? So we don't actually house people. We are not a housing program, but we do work in some cities with vouchers, like TBRA vouchers, which is essentially modeling a Section 8 voucher, but not for life. And Section 8 is when you get a percentage of your rent paid for by the government if you make under a certain amount. And a TBRA voucher is when you will kind of pay a percentage of what you're making and then slowly taper off of that over the course to 2 to 3 years. We try to get people into those programs, but it's really based on whether the city will give us those vouchers or not. So that's the longer answer, but short answer is we don't provide the housing, we find it. Vivian asks, what was your favorite experience? Sam, you got one?
You know, I love these questions. In the last class, we got what was an interesting experience you had. For me, I have favorite experiences every single time someone gets hired and they say, "You made me believe in myself."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm constantly amazed by how resilient everyone is and the obstacles that they overcome every on day to day. It's a lot more than I have to deal with on my day to day. So I am just constantly impressed and so humbled by every single team member that we have.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. Like, there's a lot of experiences that come to mind, and obviously, getting somebody housed or getting their ID in the mail is like an amazing experience. But overall, just um, not an experience, but kind of a shape shifting opinion. I think I've just changed in general, seeing that we're all basically human, and I think we all want 99% of the same things in life. And so understanding that just because somebody is outside and a different way, we all kind of want the same things. We all put our pants on the same way. And so that's been very, it's opened my mind a lot just from working here. Caroline asks, does DST have a voting access program? Um, do you mean like, do we help register people to vote, or what did you mean by that? Where's Caroline? I can go ahead and like try to answer it. Oh, helping, yeah, we do help register people to vote. Yes, that is something we do. We also do in the past months have been counting people in the 2020 census as well. So we do try to keep people involved with the community the same way that you and I would want to go vote. Oh, the mailing address.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, we have a headquarters, and we get mail delivered there. If someone, you know, if a place doesn't accept a PO box, which is pretty often,
Mhm.
then people can always get their mail sent to our headquarters. But San Jose, Sunnyvale, and Palo Alto. They're really the only communities that can get it sent there. So I'm not sure what other cities like Sacramento does, but for us specifically, we get it sent to our headquarters.
Yeah. How has doing this shaped your life in the biggest way? It's made me a lot more knowledgeable on the experience of being homeless. I've never been homeless myself, but it has changed my perception of the unhoused community. It has taken away a lot of fear, because I think as human beings, what's unknown to us, we automatically are afraid of. And we don't know a lot about homelessness because our society promotes us ignoring the problems rather than facing them head on. So it has definitely educated me so much more than ever before. And doing it for over a year, um, I don't, I find myself just treating everyone the same. And yeah, that's basically how it's shifted my life in the biggest way. Sam?
Yeah, I think for me, not that before I didn't, but putting yourself in, other people's shoes is such a large portion of this job, and just in life. Patience and understanding that one way is not just the right way for each person. Um, I think that I've been, like I've said, I've been humbled. And it's been I'm literally like, it's remarkable every single day that I see our team members. So, I think that a lot of it is patience, humble, and putting myself in their shoes a lot.
Yeah. Um, A- Angela asked how has COVID-19 affected DST work, or have you guys seen the effect COVID-19 has had in the people you serve? COVID-19 has thrown a wrench in like almost all of our operations. Like very early on, we didn't know what was going on. We had to close down shift. We weren't meeting with people, and that definitely like brings down the morale. Again, going back to those team member meetings, people really looked forward to those, and we don't host them anymore. And then like communication and technology, the phones that people get through Social Security are not that great. And talking to them, um, tele telecommuting with them is extremely difficult. That's been the hardest for me because of COVID.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Because, lack of cell phones, that's really difficult, or charging stations or Wi-Fi access. It's really difficult to do virtual appointments.
Yeah. Um, and then Joseph asks, what is your biggest goal in life? Wow, that is
Ooh,
quite the question.
yeah,
Is
think
it,
about that one.
yeah, it's very, ugh, I'm questioning my whole life decisions. Is it to expand this as much as possible, or is it something else? I think just kind of, I think naturally I want to be a humanitarian. I want to help people. It's kind of a natural thing for me. Do I want to do direct service forever, like work one-on-one with the population I'm trying to serve? No. I don't think a lot of people have that capacity. It is extremely taxing on your mental and physical health. There's something called secondhand trauma or inherited trauma, where listening to somebody's story, you're almost experiencing it with them. So do I want to help people forever? Yes. Do I want to do it one-on-one like how I'm doing now? Probably not. It's really, really difficult.
I would 100% have to agree with you on that. I've been doing direct service for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And it is extremely, it's emotionally taxing. And I definitely don't want to be on this side of the nonprofit world. I would personally like to be in fundraising, so being in charge of getting the money in unrestricted funds. Um, yeah, I want to be on the back end of things. That would be one of my goals.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of people in the nonprofit world definitely start um, in the direct service side, kind of at the lower tier and move their way up. But if you guys are ever interested in talking to people like me or Sam about a career working at a nonprofit or doing direct service, if you're not interested in the traditional STEM route, or I don't know what kind of the Bay Area promotes right now, you guys are more than welcome to reach out to us.
And I really encourage that. Please, please, please reach out, pick our brains, ask us questions. If you didn't feel comfortable asking in this class, we can always set up a Zoom call. I definitely want to answer any questions, or if, like I said, pick our brains.
So does anybody have any more questions, or I can go over some myth smashers, or I can talk about any myths that, okay, let's do that. So I'll just talk instead of having to share my slides. Let me get that. I'm still in the presentation.
So what Kelsey's going to do now, I want you guys to participate in the chat, okay? You just have to, or you can unmute, but you got to participate, okay? You can do it. We're almost done.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, guys. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you're being graded on this, guys. So I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm grading you. Let me find my slide. Okay, homeless myths. Let's get into it.
Tell me what you guys think the answer is.
Why is it not letting me see? Okay, here we go. All right. So, what is the top basic need that homeless individuals ask for? Is it A, socks, B, hygiene supplies, or C, food? What do you think?
Socks.
Okay, we got a socks.
We got food.
We got hygiene. More hygiene. Food, food, hygiene, hygiene. Okay, drum roll. It is socks. Oh, we got another food. It is socks. And so socks are super, super important to people experiencing homelessness. Their feet is their main mode of transportation, and they don't have anywhere to wash their clothes. So having a fresh pair of socks goes a long way for individuals experiencing homelessness. Okay, what's this next one? True or false? Homeless individuals flock to San Jose to take advantage of homeless services. What do you think? True or false? Abby says false. False.
My Bible teacher 2 years ago told me a story about something, so I'm going to say true.
We got
True.
here.
What teacher? No, I'm just kidding. Mulaney said true. Okay, drum roll. It's false. That's not correct. No, people do not flock to San Jose to seek out services. Actually, that's a huge misconception that I think the media has falsely claimed, that people will flock to California cities for services. But actually, 83% of the respondents to this survey were living in San Jose previously to them becoming homeless. That could either be because of the housing prices going up. That could be because jobs are not, to get hired, you have to have a bachelor's or higher, and just like gentrification in general. So that is not true. Another one, which city has the largest per capita homeless population in the US? So we have A, New York, B, Washington, DC, I'm assuming, C, this is states, I'm sorry, which state? So we have New York, Washington, California, or Hawaii, which has the largest homeless population per capita. What do you think? California. What was that?
I got 2 Californians here too.
Okay. New York. New York actually has the largest homeless population per capita, but California has the largest unsheltered population, probably due to us not having many indoor shelters, and the weather is a lot better here.
And actually, in New York City, libraries have to open up due to weather conditions in New York.
Yeah.
So it's like a mandatory thing for Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't snow much here. Okay, last one. When did homelessness become an epidemic in the US? Is it A, the 1930s, B, the 1980s, C, the 2010s, or D, it always existed?
So I think indentured servitude and slavery were things back in the day. If you were poor, you would being one of those, I think. So I'd say the third.
You think the 2010s?
We got the 30s here.
Oh, the 30s. Okay, got the 30s. Okay. It is B, the 1980s. This is probably due to the Reagan administration cutting a lot of federal funding for social services. I don't know if everyone's taken an American history class recently. You guys probably talked about this. But ever since then, homelessness has increasingly become more of an epidemic in the US. I'm not trying to villainize Reagan. Sorry about that. But yeah, he took away a lot of mental health hospitals, rehabilitation centers, and homeless shelters. So those are all of the myths that I had. Do we have any more questions?
Or do you guys also want to say anything about just kind of your best advice to our politicians about solving the homeless problem?
Yes. Yeah, and I said this in the last two classes. I personally think that it kind of sucks that homelessness is now like a political issue. I'm sure it's just because of money. But if I really wanted to talk to the leaders in California, Gavin Newsom, and closer to home, Sam Liccardo, it would be to increase federal funding to our communities. And me and Sam talked about this a little bit in the last class, how the Bay Area specifically has a not in my backyard mentality. I feel like people in the Bay Area are super quick to say that they're like a very good person and they're willing to help, but not if it affects them directly, not if they have to see somebody poor living next to them. So creating more affordable housing in a more integrated way in more neighborhoods, I think would be a really, really good way to solve at least some homelessness, at least a good portion of it. Sam, what you think?
Yeah, and I'll piggyback. I also said this in the last class. Measure A passed 3 years ago, which gave San Jose $7 million, and that was for the tiny home project. There's been 8 built, and that was, it was petitioned to be in the Almaden area, which has a lot of open land, which was completely vetoed due to the fact that their mentality is not in my backyard. So, Kelsey and I obviously agree on affordable housing. And I think that, obviously affordable housing also takes 2 to 8 years to actually finish. So we got to get the ball rolling. And that's why your local government is very important.
Yeah.
So when you can vote, definitely look into all of those measures, because a lot of them are for helping the homeless and, getting funding. But now, we have $7 million, but where is that money going to? So I would definitely affordable housing, obviously. And also when you get housed, there is it's a huge transition. You are chronically homeless for 10 years, living in a tent that is, 4x4, and moving into 4 walls, which I think that there needs to be, once someone is housed, there needs to be intense case management and just basic living skills on how to live indoors. A lot of folks actually continue to live in their tent for the first couple of months because that's where they feel safe. So ironically, you do have to relearn how to live indoors. So I think along with that would be intense case management.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the last thing I want to add that me and Sam brought up last class was we work with people that would never have seen themselves being homeless, and homelessness can happen to anyone. And somebody that Sam and I both work with really closely was once a track star at San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly SLO, and San Jose State, had a bachelor's, came from a really good home, and became homeless through any mental health issues, drug addiction, etc. It could take a really bad injury at work to make somebody homeless. It could take family, their family not accepting them, or it could take, a mental health crisis to become homeless. So anyone can become homeless. Literally anyone. It does not matter. Some people are more likely to become homeless, but anyone can become homeless. So yeah, that's a